So many aspects of our daily lives don't lie in our hands anymore. Energy, water, education, food, healthcare, all these utilities that communities used to provide for themselves are now provided by other actors, mostly the state and corporations. While this specialization has its advantages, it has also led to some severe problems that seriously threaten human well-being. In most countries, the energy sector is nowadays dominated by 3 to 5 large corporations that hold a monopoly over energy generation and provision. Energy grids are centralized, and companies use their political influence to make sure that the status quo is not changing. However, change is exactly what we need. This is because the overriding goal of these corporations is to make profits. Social equity, environmental protection, and a fair distribution of revenues are all secondary, if at all a priority. At the same time, there have never been more reasons to make a change than now. The reality of climate change raises a serious question about our old ways of producing and consuming energy. The energy sector as it exists now is clearly too entrenched in its old habits to change at the pace that is required, and the profit maximization paradigm makes courageous experimentation with alternatives difficult, if not impossible. Simultaneously, the world's population is growing and becoming more affluent. Along with that, energy demand will increase by 1/3 in the next 15 years. This is frightening, considering how much havoc our hunger for energy has already wreaked on this planet. At the same time, this point in history can also be a chance to do it better, to find ways to equitably improve people's lives while also preserving the basis for human existence, the planet we live on. Renewable energy communities, RECs for short, represent an inspiring vision for the future of how our energy sector could look like in a couple of years. The idea is simple. Communities get together to invest in renewable energy technology. Other than big fossil fuel and nuclear power plants, renewable technology is suitable also to these relatively smaller projects. Energy communities usually have much more holistic targets: environmental protection, social equity, or, as one member of a Dutch REC put it, creating a society where citizens decide on a small scale about the things that matter. Aside from putting ideals into practice, there is more to gain for renewable energy communities. Their investment is paid back after a couple of years, as energy bills do not need to be paid anymore, and after that, a profit is made. Additionally, RECs may even earn an income by feeding excess energy into the national energy grids. What's more is that in regions with no or only unreliable energy supply, RECs also present a unique opportunity to lift whole communities out of energy poverty and insecurity. So, how do we change the global energy system? How do we move RECs from the margins of the energy sector to the forefront and mainstream? Our research project, Power to the People, tries to answer this question by creating a pathway for the future. What steps are needed to upscale the prevalence of RECs, and what challenges will need to be addressed? For upscaling RECs all over the world, 3 main things are required. First of all, renewable energy technology needs to be available and affordable globally. This means that strong global partnerships need to be built, in which frontrunners in renewable energy technology share knowledge and export their products to other countries. Furthermore, it is important to make low-interest loans available to those communities for which the initial investment may be too high. Secondly, knowledge about RECs needs to be spread globally. This does not only include advertising the benefits of RECs through media, we also need to establish a system for technical and legal knowledge dissemination. We envision an online platform where practitioners can share their experiences and ask questions, and where experts can give advice and help out. For regions with low internet access and literacy rates, networks of teachers should be set up that teach communities about renewable energy installation and maintenance. A final important step is the reforming of political institutions. These are crucial for creating beneficial conditions for RECs. Barriers for RECs to connect to the central energy grid should be removed so that excess energy can be easily sold. Local and national governments can also fulfill important advisory functions and can help finance RECs. After all, governments all over the world are facing increasing pressure for climate action, and RECs are a viable and cost-efficient way to decarbonize the energy sector. Already, governments start to embrace this approach. The Netherlands, for instance, plans on 50% of all renewable energy development to be community-owned. Nevertheless, even if these criteria are fulfilled, challenges remain. Mostly, these relate to renewable energies becoming more prevalent in general, but do therefore also apply to an increase in RECs. A higher reliance on renewable energy may put pressure on rare metals and other resources that these require. Recycling, choosing metals based on their availability and resource efficiency, will need to be advanced if RECs becoming mainstream is not to be jeopardized. We can also expect shifting geopolitical power. Today, we can observe the influence that OPEC countries exert due to their status as fossil fuel exporting countries. These nations may especially resist the turn to renewables in general and RECs specifically. Similarly, they are frontrunners in the development and production of renewable energy technology that in the future may hold a similar position to OPEC countries nowadays. To avoid that these countries use and abuse their power, it is especially important to prevent monopolization of renewable energy development and production. A final challenge remains in keeping the political influence of the established energy sector in check. Lobbying, purposefully withholding valuable information, and using political influence to create self-serving legislation are all strategies that the incumbent energy sector currently employs to defend itself against change. The challenges that lie ahead are manifold, but overcoming them is worth it. RECs becoming mainstream is a real opportunity to address some of the core challenges of this century. In terms of the Sustainable Development Goals, several of them would be significantly advanced. Communities owning and relying on renewable energy technology would greatly contribute to Goal 7, Clean and Affordable Energy. At the same time, advances towards Goal 13, Climate Action, would be made. People all over the world would also enhance their skill sets, and the access to electricity, and thus light and the internet, provides new opportunities for education, thus contributing to Goal 4. Next to those three, life on land would be protected due to less deforestation for firewood. Incomes from selling energy, as well as many new job opportunities that come from access to electricity, could contribute towards reducing poverty. Global health would be improved due to less indoor air pollution, more refrigeration, and access to medical tools requiring electricity. An increased access to energy and a fair share of its revenues can also help to reduce gender and other types of inequality. The possibilities are endless, yet the most powerful impact of RECs may in the end be something unexpected: the empowerment of communities. Successfully setting up a REC is bound to be a powerful experience and can give people a feeling of agency and ability to make a difference. These assets can translate into a growth in community-based initiatives that go far beyond RECs to encompass a wide range of innovative solutions for the world of tomorrow.